Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Ask the Expert, our podcast that is presented by Martin Business Solution LLC, where I am the proud CEO of this company. We started in 1999, and our mission has always been the same: educating our community. So we appreciate you being here with us. And so I am not going to prolong it. I am super excited about today, and I'm always excited about sharing great information with you guys, but it just keeps getting better and better. And so we are currently on episode number 63. So yay for that. I'm building up to episode 100. So make sure that you like, share, subscribe, and follow us on YouTube. It only helps us to help more people learn about financial education, how money works, how business works, how taxes work. So we appreciate our followers, and we say welcome to the new people that are on this journey with us. We couldn't do it without you. And so on today, we are going to be talking about loving tender care. Well, not quite, but it's long-term care, which is a form of loving tender care. And so I'm going to get right into it. Like I said, this is episode 63, presented to you by Martin Business Solution. And if you are interested in advertising with us, please let me know. We would welcome you all. There's no fee. We just want you to share with us so that we can share with our communities. And on today, we're going to have the expert, Ms. Barbara Tilka. I'm going to get into all of that in just a second. And we're going to be having a conversation about long-term care. And so the importance of it, what is it? How do you get it? Why should you have it? And what are the pros and cons? And we're going to have some Q&A. So don't go anywhere. And once again, thank you for tuning in with us. All right, so I got some facts for you. You know how I love to talk about statistics and numbers. I'm a numbers girl, so here we go. Age is nothing but a number when it talks about long-term care. Oftentimes we think of nursing home, the elderly, someone like great-grandparents and grandparents. We don't normally think about your average everyday person, but 37% of people that are currently utilizing or receiving long-term care services are under the age of 65. And so, if you're under the age of 65, you could be in that number. All right. And as you can see in this picture, we have this lovely couple. They have one on the way. They have 2 kids. They have a home. Chances are they're living the American dream. And they can afford it, right? Well, we'll see. According to this statistic by the Gent Cost Care Survey, it costs about $9,000 a month to utilize long-term care services. So think about it. With all of your income coming in and all of your expenses going out, do you have an extra $9,000 a month that you can afford to have long-term care for yourself or for a family member? Think about it. You're married. Should your spouse need it? Pray you never need it, but let's say your spouse needs it. Can you afford to quit your job, take care of your spouse, and cover $9,000 worth of expenses? All right, so we got an expert that's going to help us navigate through all this, because these are some tough questions, and that's why we're here. And so, you got this lovely family over here, and they're all happy, and they're doing a great job taking care of these kids. So no worry, we're going to save money because our kids are going to take care of us. My kids are probably watching this, and I pray and I'm pleading with them now. Don't forget about mom. But our kids have lives. They have lives. They have jobs. They have careers. They have spouses. They have children. And do they even have the skill set? I mean, you think about it, close your eyes, think about your kids. What are they great at? So you're going to answer those questions yourself. So according to the data, 42% of family that need caregivers, only about 42% of families. So what are the other 58% people who taking care of them? Yeah. So if we did a survey, if we counted off, 1 through 10, 4 of us would have somebody in our family taking care of us. The other 6 of us, we got to fend for ourselves. So these are some of the questions that we're going to be talking to Ms. Barbara about today. I'm super excited. I'm gonna I'm gonna read her bio first, and then I'm gonna talk about her. How about that? It's really good to read a person's bio so that you understand their area of expertise, their background, what they love to do. But you guys know me. If you've been watching for any length of time, I don't just go by credentials. I go by the heart of the person. So let's get right into it. I'm gonna read Miss Barbara Tilker's beautiful bio. I'm gonna save all my comments. Let me read the bio first, because I'll just get to talking, and then you all will find out why I consider her to be a friend. So, originally from Toronto, Canada, Barbara is married to a Florida native, and she moved to Jacksonville, Florida about 36 years ago. Doesn't even look like she's 36, but okay. So she moved to Jacksonville 36 years ago, and after 15 years in the corporate world, having small children and a career with no flexibility or time with her family. We all know I talk about that a lot. Time freedom is so important. She started her own business. So with over 20 years of 20 years in the financial service industry, Barbara has a passion for helping her clients. I love her through various life events: divorce, death of a spouse, bankruptcy. She cares about the long-term care. You're gonna hear that in her conversation. Passionate about providing financial education to all clients, no matter their financial situation. That's just like another checkbox for me. $10, $10 million. And I think she even talked to somebody that won the lottery or something. I remember a little story that I heard. I don't know.
Yeah.
So doesn't matter if it's $10 or 10 million. Ms. Barber is there ready to help. She's fully licensed as a financial advisor, and she's an educator, and it's very fulfilling to do financial education things. That's why she's here with us today. And so with recently the launch of the How Money Works book for Women Take Control or Lose It, by one of our very own good friends, Ms. Kim Schooler. She's been improving financial literacy for women through her events and workshops with her team, represented throughout the US. And that is her focus, making sure that women are financially savvy, and that we're taking control. Barbara has two sons, 30 and 28. I still, again, don't look like she should have children that old, but she does. So Barbara has two sons, 30 and 28, and she are excited that they're out of college. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. There's so many, when I remember my daughter went from pre-K to kindergarten, I was turning the flip. I mean, childcare. Have you guys seen the cost of childcare? So now you can only imagine the cost of college. So they're out of college.
Got a pay raise when they graduate.
Yes, you get some of your life back like that. They're
Yep.
gainfully employed, and more importantly, they know how money works. And so she's going to talk to us today about long-term care, which falls into that umbrella of how money works. If we understand the interworkings of it, we'll be better suit, and we'll be better prepared. So one of the things I wanted to kind of talk about with Miss Barber is that she's such a professional, but she is passionate at heart about making sure that we all understand the interworkings of long-term care. And so on today, we're going to have a conversation with her about it. But before we get into all those, the questions and the technical things, Ms. Bob, I want you to kind of tell us why you pick long-term care as your topic for, this is Life Insurance Awareness Month. There's so many different things we could have been talking about today. So kind of tell me your story about why you're even in the industry, or whatever you feel that you want to share with us. But I really want to know in that, why long-term care?
Well, I think it certainly ties into life insurance, and you'll understand that when I talk a little bit more about solutions. But I would say, as a woman, in my age, in my 60s, I have a lot of women clients and friends that are dealing with aging parents. And it is a challenge because they are working, and yet they're trying to help their loved ones, which we all want to do. And the women's book does highlight that unfortunately, it can affect us financially if we're coming out of work to take care of our loved ones. And that could be our mother, mother-in-law. And so women tend to be tapped to do that. We're nurturers, we're caregivers. We do want to do that. And so I find a lot of my clients, I would say, especially those that are single, so they've lost a spouse through death or divorce, the first thing they think about is who's going to take care of me. And a lot of my married clients would say, I'm going to outlive my husband who's going to take care of me. So that was kind of, why I've spent more time in this field helping clients. And we're fortunate to have so many great solutions. I was so alarmed by all the myths of what long-term care is. I felt pretty passionate that we really need to clarify all that. My personal story, I've been fortunate I was raised by a mother who was able to care for her mother because it was a necessity, but she was able to go do it. And she was introduced to hospice, which was home care.
Mm-hmm.
And she was amazed at the care. And that's launched my mother into becoming a pioneer in Canada for opening hospices all over the country. And that was huge. So I grew up learning about that. And it's not strange to me, understanding what palliative care is, hospice, and so forth, but people wanting to be home. Fast forward, I was a 40-something-year-old having a hip injury and subsequently had to have my hip replaced and be home and have someone really take care of me in the midst of my husband working, my kids were gone. So that personally was like, wow, okay, I had to hire someone to take care of me. I was able to pay for that, but those were the situations that yes, to your point, it's not old people, right?
Right, right.
And then I get to the point where I'm able to go help take care of my mother. We lost her 6 years ago, but she was home. And the three daughters were able to be there. And we had home health care for her. And they were able to afford that. But that's what people want. So how do you do that? Like you mentioned, if you're leaving work to do that, maybe you're raising a young family and taking care of your parent. So that was really that's just so prevalent. I think the statistics are over 70 to 75% of us will need care.
Yeah, yeah,
And so
yeah.
that's really my focus.
That's awesome. That's amazing that you had such a great role model, some inspiration, that your mom, you were able to see that, and just to see how somebody else care and to have that environment. And, that is just not so common now. I know that when my grandfather became ill and needed long-term care, my mother was his full-time caregiver. Yeah, he had the hospice people and things of that nature. So I have the highest regard for hospice. You too, like you, I was able to see my mother take care of her parent. But that's just not as easy as it is, now. And so one of the things that, you said a lot of things in there, so I want to kind of unpack some of that. So for our listeners who may not know, what is the difference? What is the difference between long-term care and when they say, oh, I have disability income on my job, or, we have something in place. If something happens to me, my job has something, or my husband's job or my wife's job has something, not truly understanding the difference with long-term care. Can you tell us a little bit, just kind of give us the definition of it so that when we say it, they understand what we're talking about?
Yeah, so the official definition is essentially you can't do what they call activities of daily living. And to be qualifying as a long-term care event, that's typically 2 activities of daily living. So 2 of the 6. So, dressing, bathing, toileting, feeding, transferring, and the last one is continence. So we all know people who've had dementia. That also is a triggering event. But not every long-term care need is a permanent need. I mentioned my hips issue. That wasn't permanent. It's not unusual for someone to, God forbid, have a stroke or a heart attack. And maybe they are, laid up in bed, eventually can recover. With modern medicine, we can. And so those are some really important things for people to understand. Disability is, you're not able to go to work, but you might still be able to do those 6 activities, right?
Right, right, right. Yeah, because I guess we don't really think about that, that short-term part. Like when my husband had his hip replaced. I think we shared that story. My husband had his hip replaced. I was his, I was a part-time caregiver because I was still working,
Yeah,
and I would
that's
have,
challenging.
yeah, you have somebody else to go by. Hey, can you go check on him, make sure he's okay? He's gonna need a little help. And so he had two of the items that he couldn't do by himself, and I was like, you know what? He's been at home a couple hours. Let me call somebody. I would run home, but I had the flexibility because I am a business owner, and I was a business owner at that time, so I could, leave my office, run home, do what I need to do, take a day off, take 2 days off. But
Yeah,
someone that's working a 9 to 5, you know, so I know in further on in our conversation, we'll talk about what are some of the solutions to help somebody in that situation. So it's not
yeah.
always the long term, and a lot of time we think of somebody with dementia. So what happens in the short term?
Yeah,
And
and I should add, I was able to, I hired someone to take care of me. It was a family friend, the daughter of a friend, and I
Mhm.
was able to pay her. She's not a skilled nurse. Now she's an awesome nurturing. She's great at what she, drove me around to appointments when I need it. So that was really, that's the way I want. And you got to have money to do that, right? So
You gotta have money to do that, and the assumption that insurance on the job will take care of that, or if I have this program or this healthcare, so does healthcare pay for that? I mean, what happened?
no, my health insurance obviously paid for my surgery and physician's visits, and I had a deductible and all that. But as far as care, I had physical therapy visits that were covered, but not to have someone make sure I was, getting some meals, driving me to an appointment, just making sure I mean, just caregiving. And so those are things that people don't understand, that your health insurance is not going to pay for that.
Right, and the cost of health insurance, people just assume that will cover everything, but then when they start hearing about long-term care as a separate something, it sounds expensive or really out there. Is it affordable, or is it something that the average person could even have?
Well, it really has changed in many ways in the industry to the point where we think of the insurance policies of the past that people would have bought and paid, monthly or annually, and they keep adjusting in their premium. So imagine you're buying your car insurance and it just keeps going up 40% each year. Um, And it depends on your health when you buy it. So if you're smart and you get it when you're young and healthy, well, great, don't get rid of it. But it does get so cost prohibitive by the time you really need it, if you are typically in your 60s or 70s, that a lot of people are just not able to keep it or even buy it. It has changed dramatically now. There are many ways to get a plan that will provide funds, and I mean funds, not reimbursement. So funds to be able to pay for the care that you want. Now, it may be that you choose to go into, maybe it's memory care, maybe you choose to go into a facility. But again, it's your money to choose where you go. Nobody's telling you where your care is. So there are ways for people to use money they already have. There are ways to buy policies that have sort of linked benefits to life insurance.
Mhm.
There are ways to do solutions for people who are not insurable.
Okay.
And there are ways for people, obviously, if you're healthy, you can buy it. And, so that get with an expert who's licensed that has all these solutions, right? That's the key.
Let's put that disclaimer out there. Before you start doing anything, make sure that you set with your financial educator, someone that is going to listen to you and kind of go through the interworkings. Of course, Barbara and I offer our services to you as well. We'll tell you a little bit more about how you can connect with one of us. But even if it's not a connect with someone that's an expert in that field, you had mentioned that the younger you are, the more healthy you are, it would be the best time. So someone in their 20s may not typically be thinking about life insurance, long-term care, because to them it seems so far off. So what would be your words of encouragement for those of us who have young adult children or nieces and nephews, to have that conversation with them? Look, hey, don't wait till you're 60 to get it. this is something you need to be putting in place now, because I'm telling you, it's not at the forefront of their mind in most cases.
Right. And I think people just think of it as nursing home and older people. So think about the younger you are, and healthier, the less risk. And so, insurance companies look at whether you're going to be filing a claim. And if you're young and healthy, let's say in your 30s, and you haven't had any kind of a health issue that would likely put you into a claim later, then you're better off. You're approved. It's very negligible. And again, I mentioned linked benefits, so always ask about that. But it really is so much better to get it when you're young and healthy. Now think about it. What if you're 35 and you've been in a car accident and you end up with neck and back issues? Those are things that long-term care underwriters are looking at, because you could end up with a condition that does, hinder your activities of daily living later. So don't think that you're old to have those conditions. So we don't know. We're driving every day. We're in crazy accidents. So we just never know what kind of a health issue could preclude us from getting a good plan that's affordable.
Yes, I don't know how they drive in Jacksonville, but here in Louisiana, it's like, okay, pray before I get in the car, pray when I get out that I survive.
Yeah, well, we're rated here in Jacksonville, in this country, we're rated in the top 10 in driving fatalities.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
very scary.
And our conversation today is not to put everybody in the fear mode, but we want to put you guys in a planning mode, a just responsibility, using some wisdom and taking our plea. We're urging you to at least sit down with someone, no matter what age you are, um, but to sit down with someone and to make sure that you have your bases covered. Be prepared. And we're talking about long-term care, which in translation is love and tender care. You care for someone. You're taking care of somebody right now. Who's going to take care of you? And if you truly love your family, are you preparing for them so that you're not a burden? A lot of times, when we're older, I don't want to be a burden on somebody, or we hear that, I don't want to be a burden. So if you truly feel like that, let's talk. Let's have a conversation. Because it
Right.
does, there's a whole lot of different factors that determine if you can qualify for it, if you can, how much, what kind, all of the different interworkings. So we're just having an overview conversation with you today. But once again, you're going to hear me say it again. Sit down with a financial educator that can walk you through this. It is not a painful situation to have a conversation.
Well, and I think, it's interesting because most people speak to financial professionals just about saving for retirement
Oh,
or
that's a
saving.
good.
And I often tell people it's not just about that. It's what if there's an event that sidelines and you don't want to drain your retirement money. And I think I don't know anyone who's just socking away another $250,000. If $250,000 is the number that is common for people to spend to have caregivers, who's setting that aside? And so, why not find out a way to, use some of the savings tools that you're doing and some maybe insurance and those solutions to make sure what if that will work and leveraging those solutions. So that's really, it's a creative way to do it.
That's a good point to bring up, Ms. Barber, that your financial educator is not just for finances per se, like budgeting, saving money, which all those things are great. These are some of the other tools that go along with that. If you're dealing with someone that can take care of your full financial portfolio, they will be considering things like life events. Life happens. So the case scenario, what if this happened? What if that happened? What do you have in place? So it's more than just about investing and saving and budgeting and putting together a financial plan, for small business owners, to go after a contract. All those things take a part of it. And so long-term care is part of a full financial plan.
And
Um,
that's the thing you got to know in the financial services industry. You want to really work with a professional who's got the licensing, the access to solutions, and all of that. And you don't just have someone who's practicing to the one license they have. So we always urge people to make sure in the world of Google, And what are you looking for? And do you have a true consultant, not a salesman, right?
I'm on, yes. Don't get us started on that soapbox, but I tell you, it's almost like, hey, I'm hungry and I'm gonna go get a meal, and you go and they give you appetizer. Well, I'm still hungry. I need to order a full course meal and some dessert. So speaking with someone that is fully licensed or have access to a fully licensed team,
Mhm.
um, you can have the whole meal, not just the appetizer. So you can get the appetizer, the 5 course meal, the dessert, and the walk home. And so, thank you for bringing that up, Barbara. That's a really, really good point. And so we kind of talked about the different case scenarios and things of that nature. So now we have arrived to the fact that we are going to put something in place. Do I just get long-term care for a nursing home? I've had to visit people at nursing homes. I'm not a fan of it. Some were really good facilities with nice people, and some were like, oh my gosh, am I gonna make it back to the car alive? So I'm just not a fan of nursing homes. So is long-term care just for that, or?
Well, I've mentioned a few scenarios that I was particularly, in personally. And what you really want is the ability to choose the care that you want. So there are people who want to be in assisted living or have to be in memory care. And it's your money that dictates where you go, not an insurance company and not a nursing home. So, you'd certainly, have a lot more choices when you have a plan. So I'm not knocking the facilities. Sometimes you have no choice. If someone has a serious memory, a dementia issue, they may not be able to be home. Um, but there are ways to have care at home. It could be a family member, and yet you still have money. You could maybe help pay their bills with that money. Maybe you do want your daughter or your sister to come and take care of you, but you'll have the ability to pay their bills maybe while they've come out of work. So it is very flexible.
And she said the key word, plan before time. Plan. If you can't plan during the event, you have to plan prior to. I mean, come on, people. We plan for vacations, we plan for weddings, we plan for birthday parties. Like I mentioned, my birthday is coming up pretty soon. I'll be hitting the big 50, so a little planning there, but we definitely want to plan. At least have the conversation. It doesn't mean you're going to have a full-fledged solution at the very first conversation. Get your questions answered. Get past those myths. But for me, I know a lot of my clients, I've been in the tax industry for 25 years, and so I get a lot of questions about tax savings, or if I put money here, what are my tax liabilities? And so what are some of the advantages of setting up long-term care from a tax standpoint?
Well, that's a good point. So a lot of the solutions that we do when when you've got that triggering event and the insurance company's now giving you that money. It's a monthly benefit, for instance. All that money is tax-free.
Hmm.
So contrast that with if you don't have a plan and you need that money to pay for the care you want, often you're pulling it out of your retirement account. And we all know when you withdraw money out of a retirement account, you pay taxes.
Yeah.
So as a tax professional, I'm sure you could advise people, okay, wait a minute. If you're using another 30 or 40,000 a year for care out of your retirement account, you're increasing your income, on top of what you're earning, maybe a pension or Social Security. So it is long-term care benefits are tax-free. And so that's key.
I'm so glad you said that. So now all of my clients are going to hear you say that, and they're going to say, oh, that's a good idea. Because I know I have said that. Clients are like kids sometimes, like they're not hearing me. So I am so glad you said that. So I pray that they hear your voice the next time I have that conversation about just looking at the possibility of implementing something around long-term care where they're not just solely depending on the job or some other outside factor. And
Yeah.
so we're going to take about one or two more questions, and then we'll kind of wrap it up with our final thoughts. But one thing I was thinking, kind of, we've heard about the facilities and, where we want to go, having an option of where we want to go. What is there a plan if you and your family have had that discussion? And because like my daughter or my niece or whomever the caregiver is gonna be, because they are family, does long-term care still pay family?
Yeah, because they're paying you. So your doctor says Candy can't do 2 activities of daily living. The insurance company gets that declaration and starts paying your benefit to you in cash. So
Mm.
you have that cash in your bank account and you can decide who is coming into the house or living with you or, where you're going. So you dictate where that money goes. Absolutely.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. I mean, and so I hope you all are hearing what we're saying, that you have the opportunity to put together your plan of what you want your future to look like. At whatever age you are today, it's the best time to do it. To have the conversation, get all your questions and your concerns answered. Have that conversation with the family member. If you have a family member that don't want to talk about it, or you are having some sort of or you may not know how to bring the subject up, bring them to the meeting. Say, hey, look, I'm going to get some questions answered. I would like for you to go with me so that I can get your thoughts on it afterwards. Just bring it in, get some literature, get some brochure. Now, I wouldn't say just Google it. I'm saying let's have a conversation with a licensed professional, and preferably someone that has your best interest at heart, someone that's going to hear you. I know Miss Barbara mentioned earlier, when I read her bio, that she has a passion for working with women that are bouncing back from divorce, or women who may be single mothers. And so sometimes that their voices aren't heard in general. And so you want to take somebody that's an advocate, somebody like a Barbara Tilka, who is not going to be a pushover. She's going to get to the bottom of it. She's going to find out, she's going to research and take into consideration your actual situation. So, like I said, if it's not me or Barbara, find somebody that's going to listen to you and somebody that know what they're doing, have the credentials or access to a team of people that have the credentials. You want to just want to get the information and sit with it and make a plan. And so, so are you prepared? I have some questions here on the screen. I want you to meet with someone. You want them to see where you are. You want them to know, hey, these are my concerns, and find out if it is in your budget. Don't just pre-assume like we do a lot of times, oh, that's for the rich and famous. It can be for whomever. There's some underwriting involved, so there are no guarantees and no promises. But if you're putting together a plan, you have time to come up with plan B, plan C, and plan D. And our favorite plan E. That's a whole other conversation for another time. But so Miss Barb, I want you to tell us, now that we've made up our mind, we're going to have the conversation. Some of us may even have long-term care, not quite sure how to use it or where it is, or may not have a full understanding. So what are our next steps now that we're saying, yes, let's talk about it?
Well, just 2 things. Don't assume that it actually costs you, because there are ways to reposition money you already have. I love helping people in those situations where they don't realize that we can just, move money that you already have and do the plan, and it's not an extra bill. So it's not a budget issue for a lot of people. And then the second thing is, don't assume that you're not insurable or that it's an issue, because there are solutions that don't require any qualifications or health questions. And so that's why I'm excited about this, because I can really help a lot of people, especially when they've been told, nah, I can't afford it, or, oh, I've got health issues, I can't do it.
Yeah,
So you
great.
just never know. So call and you'll learn something.
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe your initial consultation, as mine as well, doesn't cost you anything. Here's Ms.
Okay.
Barber's information on the screen. You can take a picture of it, screenshot it. If you're watching a replay, write it down. Here's the information. She is physically located in Jacksonville, Florida, but she serves clients all across the US. And I know she's from Canada, so I don't know if you're licensed there or not, but kind of
Yeah.
eliminating all the excuses. We got
Yeah.
Zoom.
Yeah. Yeah. So forget about all the myths out there and really find out for you personally what your plan is and what could work. For sure.
And so before we go, I want to make sure you all are following me as well. Like I said, I appreciate you all for tuning in. Make sure that you share this with your friends or family. And if you're having a hard time having that conversation, shoot them this link. Say, hey, listen to this. And so you can follow me on LinkedIn and Instagram. Here's my name on the screen, Candy Guimont-Martin. You can follow us on YouTube. Make sure that you like, share, subscribe, turn that bell on YouTube so that you don't miss any of our episodes on Ask the Expert. And the YouTube channel is the same name, Candy Guimont-Martin. And on next week, we're going to be having another conversation. This is Life Insurance Awareness Month. And so we're going to have a panel discussion with me and some of my friends. We're all licensed to talk about life insurance, and we're going to do it in a fun way. And so we definitely look forward to you all coming back and joining us on next week. So make sure that you screenshot this page too as well, that you like, share, and follow. I can't say it enough. And one more thing before we go. Let me do this. So one more thing before we go. I really appreciate Ms. Barbara taking the time to meet with us on today. And so I just want to extend my gratitude to you. You could have been doing something else somewhere else, and I know that you're fully able to do that. I was
Well,
reflecting.
thank you. This is awesome information. And there's just so many people that need to be helped with this for sure.
And I was reflecting on last year, we were at a retreat in Hilton Head, South Carolina, a business retreat. You know, we were there for business to learn, but we had so much fun. We were able to just fellowship and cook breakfast. You and your husband, y'all kind of hosted us in a way. You just kind of took over. And I remember just sitting there and listening to you. And I said, oh my gosh, she is so passionate and so concerned about her community in which she serves. So I want to just tell
Thank
you thank you. If I didn't tell you thank you then, I did learn some things, and you have definitely inspired me. So I want to thank Ms. Barbara Tilka from Jacksonville, Florida. She is also a financial educator. We're in the same team. We're on the same team. And so I thank you for taking the time to come on as a friend.
Yeah, well, thank you. I love it.
I really appreciate that. So any final words or remarks before we get out of here, Ms. Barbara?
Just share the information to people. When you get this link, really share it and let it speak for itself. Don't worry about trying to explain it. That's what I say.
All right. Thank you for tuning in to Ask the Expert, presented by Martin Business Solutions. Have a great day.
Thanks.